Okay, Charles, good to go.
Great, thank you, Nancy. So before we start the meeting, I would like to read a land acknowledgement. The land on which we meet has been here from time memorial. People have inhabited Southern Ontario for about 10,000 years, and we acknowledge the neutral people, also called Attawandaron, Anishinaabe, and Haudenosaunee, people who lived here when settlers arrived and who share the land with us. May we together learn to care for and respect each other, our flora and fauna, and the land we inhabit together. I'll remind the committee and members of the public that this meeting is being recorded and live streamed to the township's YouTube channel. This meeting is being held electronically due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Precautions and measures are in place regarding social distancing to ensure the health and safety for those in attendance at the municipal office. Anyone who registered to participate in this meeting will be invited to speak in the order of the applications being heard. I will now do a roll call of the committee for the benefit of the public watching this meeting. When I call your name, please wave at your camera and say here or present. I, Charles Zeiler, am present and chairing this meeting. Jim Burley.
Present.
Tim Cronin.
I'm here for the last time.
Linda Dixon.
Present.
And Hans Potkamper.
Also for the last time.
Then we have David Gundrum, who's our planner.
Present.
And Nancy Thompson, the secretary treasurer.
Present.
Thanks, everyone. I will now provide an explanation of the procedures for the meeting. Each application will be read by Nancy, and she will ask each applicant to make a brief presentation, not to exceed 5 minutes. The committee will be given an opportunity to question the applicant. Any other person who has registered with the recording secretary and is wishing to address an application, either for or against, will then be given the opportunity to speak. Please make sure you have turned on your microphone and video and identify yourself clearly for the recording secretary. After everyone has had an opportunity to speak, the committee will make a decision on the application. Once discussion on your application is complete, please mute your microphone and turn off the video. You are free to leave the meeting at this time or remain and listen to the balance of the applications. The applicants are advised that each application has a 20-day appeal period as required under the Planning Act. In accordance with Bill 23, which received royal assent on November 28, 2022, appeals may only be submitted by the applicant, the municipality, certain public bodies, and the minister. The last day of appeal for the applications heard today is April 12th, 2023. At this time, I will ask if any members of the committee, if they are declaring a pecuniary conflict of interest with any of the applications.
No.
No.
Okay, so that's for everyone. And then Nancy, if you can read the first application description, please.
Thanks, Charles. The first application this evening is minor variance A6 2023 for Habib Mohammadi for the property at 1343 King Street North in St. Jacobs. The property is zoned residential medium density and contains a residential building containing 5 apartment units, which was approved by minor variance A17 2022. The applicant is proposing a 1.2 meter by 4.0 meter addition to the 5th apartment unit currently under renovation and is requesting the following. Relief from section 6.10.2D of the building setback requirements to reduce the building line setback adjacent to a street being Princess Street West from 6 meters to approximately 1 meter for the proposed addition, and to permit the expansion of an existing legal non-conforming use 4-unit apartment building with the addition of the 5th apartment unit having a total floor area of approximately 54 square meters. The property received minor variance approval in 1999 to recognize the existing 4 apartment units and further approval in 2022 to add a 5th apartment containing approximately 48 square meters. The property is located at the corner of King Street North and Princess Street West. Habib is here as well as his consultant, George Cedras. George, if you'd like to provide an overview. George, just have to unmute your microphone there. Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nancy, David, and Charles, and the Honorable Committee of Adjustment. This is a very tiny proposal here for adding a small section that's 1.2 meter by 4 meters. The reason for that is I was approached by Mr. Habib Mohammadi about 2 months or 3 months ago to add a second bedroom for the unit that we already have taken approval for back in 2022. And in order to meet Ontario Building Code, the area is not going to be enough. So the only way of doing that was to add this small section that's 4 feet by 13 feet and a little small, about 4 meter by 1.2 meters. And honestly, it's worthwhile because you already build a kitchen, washroom is already there, big living room. So adding another bedroom makes sense here. And the need for a 2-bedroom units is really great in the area. So I approached Nancy and David, and they kindly informed me that it should be a reasonable request, but it will require again a minor variance application because the front setback is 1 meter instead of 6 meters. But in the same time, it's 1 meter. Well, this is consistent pretty much with the other side of the building, so there is no really any new intrusion here or anything like this. So I hope that the committee will accept this application. Thank you very much. Habib, you want to add something?
No, go ahead. Thank you. Just I'm listening.
Thank you.
Okay. Do any members of the committee have any questions for George? Go ahead, Linda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you to Mr. Cedra. Just wanting to confirm. So the proposed addition, when I was out there, I noticed there's a foundation. Is that the extent of, or is it coming out further than the foundation?
It's just coming out further to where the post is. If you look at the picture or if you Google the place, you should find a small post that's supporting the balcony above. So just coming to the post, that's
Okay.
all.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Do any other members of the committee have any questions for George?
Can I talk?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, sorry about it. Yeah, actually, about another unit, which is already that we requested to add it. Already, we have a foundation. That's the same foundation with the same lane is going to addition. Actually, I know not the post with the same lane with the other unit. If just little, but I don't know, 1 meter point something. I didn't measure it, but George knows that.
Great. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
No more questions for any members of the committee? Is there any members of the public that wanted to speak about this application? Okay, doesn't appear to be so. How would the committee like to handle this application? Linda.
Just give me a second, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so I move that minor variance application A6-2023 concerning the property known municipally as 1343 King Street North in St. Jacobs to request relief from section 6.10.2.d to permit a reduced building line setback of 1 meter for an existing legal non-conforming use in the residential R3 zone, and to permit the expansion of an existing legal non-conforming use 5-unit apartment building in the residential R3 zone to increase the size of the 5th apartment unit to a total floor area of 53 square meters, be approved, subject to the following 3 conditions: that the reduced building line setback be consistent with and only applied to the proposed new building projection as per the submitted plans dated December 2021 by GS Engineering Group, that the expansion of the legal non-conforming use to increase the size of the 5th apartment unit to 53 square meters be consistent with the submitted floor plan dated December 2021, drawing A1 prepared by GS Engineering Group, and that all required parking spaces for the 5-unit apartment building conform to zoning bylaw requirements regarding their size and location.
Thank you, Linda. Tim, will you second that, or?
I will second that. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. And then all those in favor? So that appears to be everyone. All those opposed will be no one. So George and Habibi, just to remind you that the appeal date, which would be April 12th, 2023. And I believe Nancy will send out the appropriate information to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you, gentlemen.
everyone. And another before leaving, I'm gonna say to everybody, Happy New Year. Is the next 1 hour is my New Year. Everybody is sitting in a room. We're having a little party. You can enjoy it with us, guys and the ladies.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Habib. Good night.
Thank you.
Right now. Bye-bye.
Okay, the next application this evening is minor variance application A7 2023 for James and Lisa Bennett for their property at 520 Catherine Street South at Crowsfoot Corners. The property is zoned settlement residential with site-specific regulations and contains a single detached dwelling and a detached garage. The applicant is requesting relief from section 6.4.4 of the accessory building regulations to increase the total maximum allowable size of all detached accessory buildings from 100 square meters to approximately 120 square meters to permit the construction of a 20 square meter pool shed. The property currently contains a 100 square meter detached garage. And Mr. and Mrs. Bennett are here this evening to speak to their application.
Hi there, I'm Lisa. This is James Bennett. As Nancy has stated, we are asking for the minor variance for the construction of a 20 square meter new pool shed to house pool-related equipment and accessories.
Great. Thank you. James, anything to add?
Nope, that's about it.
Great. Thank you. Any members of the committee have any questions for Lisa or James? Okay, appears to be none. Is there any members of the public that wanted to speak about this application? Okay, appears to be none. Does anybody in the committee know how they would like to handle this application? Jim?
I would like to make a motion that minor variance application A07/2023 for Lisa and James Bennett concerning the construction of a pool shed and relief from 6.4.4 to permit the building be approved, subject to 1, that the new accessory structure pool equipment shed be constructed in general conformity with application drawing as submitted.
Thank you, Jim. Do we have a seconder for that?
I'll
Hans?
second.
Thank you, Hans. All in favor? So that's all of us. So opposed would be none. So the motion has been passed. So again, just a reminder of the appeal date that expires on April 12th, 2023. And again, Nancy will send out the appropriate information to you guys.
Okay, thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next application is minor variance application A8 2023 for Jonathan and Cindy Bossman at 22 River Street in Bloomingdale. Property is zoned settlement residential and contains a single detached dwelling and a detached garage. The applicant is requesting relief from section 6.36.1 to reduce the front porch building line setback adjacent to a street from 3.5 meters to approximately 1.8 meters in order to permit the construction of a new front porch across the front of the existing dwelling. And Mr. Bossman is here for his application.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, looking to put a front porch on the front of the house. River Street is a nice, quiet street in the small town of Bloomingdale, and my 7-year-old, 5-year-old, and 3-year-old love to ride their bikes up and down the street, and we would like a place to watch it. And my wife would like to put a chair bigger than what the current setback would allow on that front porch. So, yeah, we would basically, one of the mayoral candidates came by when campaigning, and I talked briefly to him, and he said, Woolwich is a place where we'd like to have a front porch living. And I said, I would like that very much as well. So that is the request.
Thank you, Johnson. Do any members of the committee have any questions for the applicant? Okay, is there any members of the public that wanted to speak about this application?
I would say something really quick, if that's all right.
Yes, Bryce, go ahead.
Do you want me to turn the camera on as well, or?
Sure.
All right, hi everyone. I own the property across the street and one door down from Jonathan, and when I saw the application come in, the documentation just crossed my mind. The first thing was, yes, more, positive gentrification, not, declining in the area. So anything we can do to make the properties and neighborhood continue to look better, I'm all for it.
Great, thank you. Any other members of the public that wanted to speak about this application? Okay, so how would the committee like to handle this application? Tim?
Okay, I would move that minor variance application A 08-2023 for Jonathan Bosman concerning the property at 22 River Street in Bloomingdale, request relief from zoning bylaw section 6.10.2.d to permit the building line of existing semi-detached with a new front porch to be 1.85 meters. Be approved subject to that the reduced building line setback 1.85 to River Street apply to propose 14 square meter building addition front porch as shown on the provided application site plan drawings and does not include any other buildings or structures.
Do I have a seconder for that?
I'll second that.
Thanks, Hans. And then all those in favor? So that's everyone. All those opposed would be nobody. So the application has been passed. Just to remind you, Jonathan, of the appeal date of April 20th, 2023, and Nancy will send you the appropriate paperwork for that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next application this evening is minor variance application A9 2023 for Bryce Baker for the property at 167 Woolwich Street South in Breslau. Property zone settlement residential and contains a single detached dwelling and detached garage. The applicant is proposing to redevelop the 2024 square meter property with a new 2-story dwelling and is requesting relief from the following. Section 8.3.2 to recognize the existing lot width of 15 meters, whereas 30 meters is required. And section 8.3.3a to recognize the existing lot frontage of 15 meters, whereas 18 meters is required. And Mr. Baker is here to speak to his application.
Hi, yes, we're just looking for relief for width. We do have a narrow but long lot, so we feel we can still maintain our setbacks and services even with the 15 meters that's existing.
Thank you, Bryce. Do any members of the committee have any questions for the applicant? Okay, it's not looking like it. Is there any members of the public that wanted to speak on this application?
Yes, I do. Deb Schulte.
Thanks, Deb.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My husband, Andy, and I are the owners of the adjacent house to Bryce's property. Our concern is that the proposed house's setback and length will have various adverse impacts to our home. We noticed that the Township of Woolwich minor variance application, applicant's checklist for the site plan, bullet C, states the approximate location of all natural and artificial features on the subject land and on the land that is adjacent to the subject land that, in the opinion of the applicant, may affect the application. Examples including building, and it lists other things. Also in the sample site plan /sketch, it indicates or displays the adjacent neighbor's house. Were our buildings included in the submitted site plan? And if not, why was this not requested, as it would have shown the adverse impact to our home as called out in picture 2, site plan 167 and 169, picture 1, 3D of proposed home and our house, and picture 5, Google satellite site picture we submitted and were included in the meeting package that was distributed on Friday. As mentioned in our submitted comments and pictures, we are concerned about the impact to privacy, view, and resale value to our property. The new proposal has the house beginning 18 feet behind the front of our home, 1.2 meters from our side of the property line, and will extend 71 feet past the back of our home due to the proposed 105-foot length, plus an additional 11-foot covered deck. The site plan that was sent for this meeting shows the scope of work in red, which indicates outside of his property line and onto our property. We would like to have on record that we are not giving permission to access our property. We are not sure why the scope of work is shown on our property and are concerned since our air conditioner, gas pipeline to our house and to our new shop is on that side of our property. We are in no means trying to prevent someone from building on this property, but we only ask that they have some consideration for their neighbor and their property. We hope that we can see some form of limitation so that the impact to the privacy, view, and resale value of our property is minimal. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Do any members of the committee have any questions for Deb? No.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, go ahead, Hans.
through you to the neighbor, what kind of steps are you looking for to make this construction happen?
I think what we were most concerned that this new proposed house is so far back on the property. We were kind of surprised that the garage, because there's a garage at the front, that it wouldn't have been put closer up at the front of the property to limit what was on the back end that hinders our property for privacy and everything. So whether it moves forward more.
Answer your question, Hans?
Yeah, it clarifies the issue. Have you discussed this with the applicant?
We did approach Bryce and tried to have a discussion about our concern. I believe from the discussion that we have, there is a possibility that he's going to be living in the house during construction. And that is the reason I believe that it is set back. And the building beside is actually, it has been a rental property for quite for as long as yes, there's two apartments in this house. It has been a rental property for quite some time. My husband's parents previously lived here. They both passed away in 2021. So we moved out here and have taken it over. So for as long as I know, and I think my husband, this has always been a rental property beside us. So I'm assuming he's going to be living in the one of the parts of this.
Thanks, Deb. Hans, did you have any more questions or?
I'm wondering if the applicant wishes to respond and give us some clarification.
Bryce?
Yeah, so yeah, we did move the house back a bit because there is no street parking, and we need some front parking because it's so narrow. We have to put a driveway on the side. That's the reason for the pushing back, so we have a bit of a front yard too. And then don't feel that it hinders our rear yard because we still would have more than 200 feet backyard. So that's the reason for the setback.
Thank you, Bryce. And then Hans, did that answer a question for you?
I believe so, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Did any members of the committee have any questions for Bryce or Deb at this point? No? And sorry, Maria, you came on here. Was this to speak on this application or are you here for another application?
09/2023.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's this one, right?
Yeah, Charles, that's his application.
Okay, and sorry, Maria, then did you want to have something to say about it?
Well, my parents are 2 doors down from the proposed building, and I'm totally in agreement with 167. We're 169, I think. We're 171, and privacy is an issue. I mean, when my parents bought that property 40 years ago, they bought it because it was a big property. We could get together with family. We could use our property. Now, if we're going to have a house that size with windows looking into our backyard, there goes all our privacy. There goes our resale value. My parents are older. They are thinking of possibly retiring, moving to a smaller property, but looking into the future, if they're going to do that and there's a property like that, the resale, what's the word I'm looking for? Sorry. The added bonus of having that property, having the privacy, being able to do family events in the backyard, that's gone. Really, it's going to affect the resale property value because people aren't going to want to buy a property like that if they're not going to have any privacy. If they want to put in a pool, you've got a house 30 feet up and they're looking into your backyard. Your children are not going to be, they're not going to have that privacy to be playing, horsing around in the backyard. You've got these people who we don't know, like we've never, to be honest, we've never met them, but now they have a clear view into our backyard. It's not, like my parents do have an issue with the property, with the use for that property, or the size of the building and the windows facing our way. Our privacy is gone.
All right. Does any members of the committee have any questions for Maria? Tim?
Through you, Mr. Chair, not to you, but to our planner, David. All we're concerned about today is the width of the lot and being allowed to build a new house on the existing lot. Is there building permit rules or zoning rules concerning, so first of all, I know it has to be so far off the street, but are there other rules that would be in place for this lot concerning what they can build or how much glass to put on the side of the property or on that side?
Through the chair, Member Cronin, very good questions, but because Mr. Baker's proposing to build the house within in conformity to the required setbacks, there's no additional requirement in the zoning bylaw to address what you're speaking to. The design otherwise meets all the requirements of the zoning bylaw, save and except the existing configuration of the lot is narrower than is otherwise required by the zone. So to answer your question, Member Cronin, no, there's no other requirements that we can trigger in the zoning bylaw.
And just to follow up to the chair, to you, David, so putting the building on the side for access for the driveway, you almost have to put the building to one side in order to allow the driveway to be on the going down the side of the property. Is that right?
Through the chair, that's correct, Member Cronin, but in this case, the design that Mr. Baker's proposed is such that he can still meet the building setbacks to all of the lot lines, the side, front, and rear, and still allow sufficient room for a legal driveway in this case.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Bryce, did I see you have a guest there that maybe wanted to speak as well?
Yes,
Hi, yes. I'm Bryce's wife. I'm Tao Baker. So I just wanted to address our neighbors' concern. So we're a growing family, which is why we decided to turn the rental property into our single family home. So we're planning to rebuild and set roots in Breslau, and we have 3 young children. And our concern with having the narrow lot and having it at the front is that we need parking space. The street has no parking, has no sidewalk. And with 3 young kids, we don't want the house too close to the front on a main road with traffic. So we feel it's safer for the kids to have it set back more. And with the issue with privacy, that section that would be in the back, that would be my daughter's bedroom and our laundry room and bathroom. So it's not like a recreational space that we're just going to be hanging out and looking over everybody's yard. So so those are private areas where the windows would be.
Oh, you're on mute.
Oh. Yes, so because our lot is narrow, we do have certain limitations with the build. Like the only way we can do it is build lengthwise because we don't have any width, and that's why the building has to be like so long.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Deb, go ahead.
So I understand that the lot is long and narrow, and I do understand that they are a growing family. What I don't understand is the concern for parking. So to be quite honest with you, we too have a driveway along the side of our house, not far back as Bryce is going, but to our shop. I also noticed that there is going to be a parkway or a parking lot at the back in front of the proposed accessory build. It's called his shop at the back. I'm just going to call it that. So there's more than ample parking available along the side and out back. I don't understand the need to have, or understand the request to have the house further back for more additional parking with all the driveway and the parking at the back of the property.
Okay, I'm not really sure that's what the matter we're here for today. It's just a matter of the width of the property to put the house in. If I remember what Tim was asking David along that line. So, but thank you for that, Deb. Any members of the committee? Jim?
Yes, this is a question to the applicant. And my question to him would be, is there any plan in the future for landscaping? As an example, some high trees or hedge for privacy, for the concern of the neighbor 2 doors down?
Yes, yeah, we're open to like making our backyard space look nice and presentable. So we do have some trees in the back, and we would be open to having some, like, we want privacy as well. So trees and anything we can do to help, we're open to, yes.
Thank you. Jim, that answered your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you.
Any other members of the committee have any questions? So how would the committee like to handle this application? Tim, you're just on mute. You're still on mute, Tim.
Sorry, I have a dog barking and I'm muting to avoid the noise on the system here. I would move that minor variance application A09-2023 concerning the subject property as 167 Woolwich Street, South Breslau, requesting relief from section 8.3.2 of the zoning bylaw to recognize existing lot width and lot frontage of 15 meters respective to the permit construction of a new single attached dwelling and detached accessory structure be approved.
Thank you, Tim. Linda, you'll second that?
Second that. Yep.
Thank you. All those in favor? So that's everyone. All those opposed would be nobody. So the application has been passed. So Bryce just wanted to remind you and ToW about the appeal date, which is April 12th, 2023. And Nancy will send you the appropriate paperwork for that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next application this evening is minor variance application A10-2023 for Bruns Welding and Manufacturing Limited for the property at 1297 King Street North in St. Jacobs. The property is zoned residential medium density and contains an accessory building for office/contractor use. The applicant is requesting permission to expand the permitted uses for the subject property to include a personal service shop, dog grooming operation within the existing building. The property is located at the corner of King Street North and Adams Street. And Ms. Bruns is here, and I'm not sure exactly who's with you, if it's the proposed tenant, but if you want to just provide an overview for the committee.
I'm Tyler. I'm the acting applicant. Ingrid is here with us, and this is Lori. She's the proposed tenant. We're looking to move an existing dog grooming shop from at-home business into this building.
Anybody else there have anything further to add, or?
Well, we've been talking for a while with Ingrid and I. I'm the existing owner now, and my name is Lori, and I'm the owner of St. Jacobs Dog Spa. And we saw this property and we love the location. We want to stay in the area. We've been in business almost 25 years. We have a really, really good reputation with our clients, and we're highly supported to stay in the area if we can.
Do any members of the committee have any questions for Ingrid or Lori? Nope, doesn't appear. Is there any members of the public here wishing to speak about this application? Okay, doesn't appear to be. So how would the committee, oh, sorry, go ahead, Tim.
Okay, I have a question through you to the planner. On the recommendation for approval that outdoor storage not be permitted on the subject property, what why is that there? What's that all about?
Through the chair, member Cronin, that's there as a protection just to ensure that the property remains in a clean state of affairs, that there's no, basically that the operation is limited to the footprint of the building itself, and that there's no exterior accessory items that are left outside. It relates partially back to a property standards perspective, but also recognizing that the existing building was granted a variance approximately 30 years ago as a contractor's use, and the variance before you tonight is really seeking to vary the existing variance to migrate the use of the site to something approximating a home occupation. And the conditions that we've added kind of are all geared towards ensuring that the use is confined to the existing building itself, and and nothing exterior to that building. So
Okay,
does that help answer the question, Member Cronin?
Well, to a point, but since this would apply to the whole property, and this is a, if I got this right, is this an R3 zoning? This is like a residential zoning with a legal non-conforming industrial building on it, if that's right? I'm just, I get the point of restricting the this operation from encroaching outside, but I'm a little concerned about tying up the whole property with this requirement, because we're only changing the use of the inside of the building. So I was having trouble expanding this to that whole property to restrict just for the dog grooming addition. Unless this was a restriction from the previous minor variance that's being brought over to this one, that I can understand.
Through the chair, Member Cronin, as far as I recall, this was being transferred over from the previous minor variance, albeit the nature of the use in this case is a bit different. It's not really of a commercial industrial nature. It's more what I call an expanded home occupational use on a different site. So we could certainly adjust the wording of that condition such that it's geared directly towards the use and not the subject property writ large.
Linda has a comment. Let's see where she goes with this.
Go ahead, Linda. You're on mute.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, through you. So I don't really have a question. Well, I do have a question. So I just want clarification, David. Is the intent of the minor variance to allow the personal service shop and then the use that was permitted under the past variance ceases, or does it still exist to be a potential use?
Through the chair, Member Dixon. So the latter is correct. So this would allow variance for the dog grooming business to be located here. That doesn't wipe away the pre-existing variance that otherwise permitted a contractor's shop that was previously passed, I believe in 1991. So it wouldn't dislocate that other use from being a possibility now and into the future. But knowing that that's not the intention of the applicants here.
So I see that I understand where Tim's coming from, because if the other use is allowed, then not allowing outside storage kind of contradicts what the previous use was. And I have to admit that I support this, and I think the way it sits as a dog grooming, a personal service use, and all the conditions that go with it fits much better into a residential area than the previous use. So I was kind of hoping the previous use would disappear, but apparently that's not going to be the case. So
yeah, to clarify, Member Dixon, the pre-existing variance would still have standing, notwithstanding what the committee decides to do tonight concerning this application.
Go ahead.
Well, just for a comment, then Betty, and for David, I'd still like to see this minor variance stand on its own, where the conditions are to apply to the dog grooming operation, and not to restrict the other uses for the property. I think it's going beyond. If there's a way to ensure that outdoor storage not be permitted for the dog grooming operation, I think that would fit in with this minor variance, and leave the other one alone if they want. They have to change or whatever. At one point in time, when I first moved to town, that was a very much larger industrial building that got half dismantled. So it brings it to that. So I guess my preference is if we get that outdoor storage not be permitted on the subject property for the dog grooming operation. That would be much more in line with what I think this variance is trying to do.
Through the chair, Member Cronin, the committee can certainly suggest adjusted wording to that condition, that it's targeted just to the accommodation of the new use of dog grooming business.
I'd like to hear some comments from my other committee members if they're on board with me, if I'm alone on this on this.
No,
topic.
I support that if we are still looking at the previous use and I know that's not the intent here, but if that use is still permitted and down the road, if that's something that happens, then we've limited the outdoor storage. So I'm in keeping with your thinking that if we're limiting it to the existing use and not to the use that was the variant, subject to the variance back many years ago.
Thank you. Now, the second question through you, Mr. Chair. Again, through to David, we have a condition here that the south-facing windows of existing buildings be visually screened during business hours. Does that mean you put blinds on the windows, or what's the intent of this? Is it so the privacy for we can't look out, or so the other people can't look in? What are they asking for with visual screening?
Yeah. Through the chair, Member Cronin, I think reading between the lines, we were thinking something along the lines of interior blinds, something that, you know, there's a bank of windows along that south face of the building. We checked with building staff whether there's any code related issues given with respect to fire code. Building staff told us there's no issue given the distance between that south facing wall and the adjacent residence. It was really more to build in, call it like a courtesy condition for the neighbors to the south that during business hours, you know, they have to keep the blinds drawn so that there's no unintentional overlook directly across to the adjacent residence, and they have windows facing north towards this building. Just something kind of as additional peace of mind to control for any impacts from the new use that's proposed with respect to the adjacent neighbors.
I guess just to follow up, not necessarily liking exactly how it's worded, but I can understand the concept of the old industrial building having windows there and trying to come up with some way to cover it up. So I can buy into that one.
Great. And then, sorry, go ahead, Linda.
I think it's one of those conditions where it's probably not really enforceable, but should down the road there be a concern with the neighbor, it's in the conditions, and there you go. That's my thinking on it.
Great. Nancy, were you working on redoing C or?
Yeah, Charles, I had just done a little bit of an amendment to that. So based on the conversation from the committee members, condition C proposed to read that outdoor storage related to the personal service shop bracket dog grooming operation bracket not be permitted on the subject property. Is that what you were looking for, that it's geared just to this use?
Like it, but Tim had the concern. He's still on mute, but I think his head nod was that was good.
Sounds good to me.
I agree. I agree with that.
I agree.
Great. So then, okay, so while we're there, do any members of the public want to speak on this application? Okay, so it doesn't appear to be that way. So how would the committee like to handle this one, Tim?
Okay, I'll make the motion then. The minor variance application A10/2023 concerning the property at 1297 King Street North, St. James, requesting permission to allow a similar use more in keeping with residential medium density as previously amended by minor variance A18/1991 personal shop dog grooming within the existing building 140 square meters be approved, subject to A, that the applicant apply for receive a certificate of occupancy, B, that the appropriate parking for the use be provided on site as per zoning bylaw, that outdoor storage not be permitted as the revised wording that Nancy provided for us, that no physical expansion to the footprint of the existing building will occur to accommodate the new use, and that the south-facing windows of the existing building be visually screened during business hours to mitigate privacy impacts to the abutting residential use at 1293 King Street North.
Great, thank you, Tim. Do we have a seconder for that,
Second.
Hans? Thank you, Hans. All those in favor? That's all of us. So any opposed would be none of us. So just wanted to remind you of the appeal expiry date of April 12th, 2023. But other than that, the motion was passed.
Thank you. Thank you.
And
very
Nancy will send you the appropriate paperwork for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application this evening is consent application B2 2023 for Vivian and Ionis Corvateris for the property at 25 Industrial Drive in Elmira. It's zoned service industrial with site-specific regulations and contains a commercial plaza and parking lot. The applicant is proposing to sever an approximate 30-meter by 60-meter portion of the property along Oriole Parkway East and convey it as a lot addition to the rear of the adjacent property located at 21 Howard Avenue. The proposed severed lands are vacant, and Brad Gibson is here as consultant representing the application.
Yeah, thank you, Nancy. Yeah, so Nancy spelled it out pretty simple there. It's just we're looking at taking a portion of the corner property, so it's about 100 feet off the back end of that property, and piecing it together with a property that comes down off of Howard. Right now, the business that's on Howard, they're a millwright company, and they have a lot of employees that are on the road, so their parking requirements fluctuate, and for a short period of time, excuse me, for a short period of time, they have been renting some parking spaces from this land owner, and they're just trying to kind of take this to the next step and just make it permanent. So yeah, any questions I'd be happy to answer.
Great, thanks, Brad. And sorry, John, did you have anything to add?
No, I'm with Brad. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Do any members of the committee have any questions for Brad or John? Hans?
The access for the parking, will that be through the current fenced-in area, or will it be from the other street at the back?
The access will be off of Oriole. There's another site plan that we had kind of prepared and submitted. It maybe didn't get circulated as part of the package, but the entrance is off Oriole. There's an existing kind of just recently, as maybe 3 years ago, there was an addition put on the back of the building. As part of that, they put a man gate. There's gates at the back, so there will be access through there.
Okay.
But the main entrance for parking will be off of Oriole.
Thank you.
Do any other members of the committee have any questions? Okay, is there any members of the public that wanted to comment on this application? Okay, doesn't appear to be. How would the committee like to handle this application? Linda? You're just on mute still.
My apologies. Trying to work in between a couple of screens here. Hang on here. Okay. So I move the consent application B2 2023 concerning the subject property known municipally as 1330. Oh, sorry, that's not right. Known municipally as 25 Industrial Drive to sever a portion of the subject property in the M5 zone having an area of approximately 1,800 square meters and a frontage of approximately 30 meters containing no buildings or structures for the purpose of a lot addition to abutting lands. To the abutting lands known municipally as 21 Howard Ave be approved, subject to all 6 conditions as set out in the planning report.
Thank you, Linda. Do we have a seconder for that motion?
I
Jim?
have a correction. There are actually 9 conditions attached, not 6.
Not on this application. There's not on the lot line adjustment. I've only got 6 in my report.
I think what you'll find is that the road of order on our package we received, we had the lobster line package before the 25 hour.
Ah, that's where the confusion came in. I apologize.
I was having trouble finding it myself.
Yeah,
Yep.
sorry, that was my mistake when I copied them for the
Yes.
committee members. They wouldn't-
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, my apologies, Hans.
Point is withdrawn.
Yeah. A123, I think, has the 9 conditions, but that's the deferred application that we're dealing with last.
Right.
correct?
Correct. Yes, thank you.
Okay, so do we have a seconder for Linda's motion? Hans, thank you. And then all those in favor? That's everyone. So opposed would be no one. Just a reminder of the appeal period expiry date of April 12th, 2023. So the motion was passed and Nancy will send out the appropriate information.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thanks,
much, guys.
everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, the next application is for Skyline Real Estate Holdings, Inc., application B3 2023 for the property at 15 Snyder Avenue North in Elmira. Property is zoned residential R7 with floodway and flood fringe policies and contains a 3-story apartment building. The previous consent application B14 2021 has lapsed and the applicant has resubmitted the application as follows. GSP Group, on behalf of the property owners of 15 Snyder Avenue North, have submitted a consent application for a proposed drainage easement on the subject lands in favor of the adjacent lands identified as 44 and 46 Church Street West. The proposed easement will provide a drainage route over the property at 15 Snyder Avenue North for overland flow to the Weigel Drain via a swale. And Valerie Schmidt from GSP Group is here to speak to the application.
Hi, thank you, Nancy. My name is Valerie Schmidt. I'm from GSP Group and I'm here on behalf of the owners, Skyline Real Estate Holdings. Nancy did a good job of kind of summarizing what we're proposing. Simply, we're just creating an easement to facilitate some flow of storm water within the adjacent property at 4446 Church Street. And as she said, this is we're reapplying as there was some oversights and we weren't able to clear conditions in the timeline, so we're just reapplying. Just let you know that the owner has reviewed the staff recommendation report and we're in support of the recommendation. And we've also reviewed the conditions attached and we're satisfied with those conditions as well. I'm here to answer any questions if there's any from committee or the public.
Valerie. Do any members of the committee have any questions for Valerie? Okay, doesn't appear to be so. Is there any members of the public that wanted to speak on this application? Okay, doesn't appear to be any. So how would the committee like to handle this application? Tim?
Well, I'm willing to get my name in the minutes one more time. I would move that consent application. This is BO3 2023. Was proposed to create a new easement covering an area of 70 square meters for stormwater drainage overland flow across property. 15 Snyder Road North in Elmira, described this as parts, all those parts. In favor of the property located at 4446 Church Street West, Elmira, benefiting lands to be approved subject to 1, 2, and 3, the conditions that are there.
Great, thank you, Tim. Do we have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Jim. All those in favor? That's all of us. So opposed would be none. So the motion has been passed. Just a reminder, Valerie, of the appeal date expiry, April 12th, 2023.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the last application this evening is consent application B1 2023 for numbered company 2440979 Ontario Inc. for the property located at 1431 Lobsinger Line. The property is zoned industrial, commercial, rural. It contains a single detached dwelling, a barn, accessory storage building, and accessory office building. This application was deferred at the January 2023 Committee of Adjustment meeting. The applicant is proposing to sever an irregular shaped parcel of land from the corner property as follows. The proposed severed lands will comprise approximately 1.03 hectares in area with approximately 57 meters frontage along Lobsinger Line and approximately 138 meters frontage along Three Bridges Road, and will contain the existing dwelling and accessory office building. And the proposed retained lands will comprise approximately 0.6 hectares in area with approximately 61 meters frontage on Lobsinger Line and contain the existing barn and accessory storage building. The applicant intends to redevelop the proposed retained lands by demolishing the existing barn and constructing a new office building. Both the severed and retained lands will be privately serviced with wells and septic systems. And Kate Wills from MHBC is here to speak on behalf of the application as well as the property owner.
Thank you, Nancy. My name is Kate Wills. I'm an associate with MHBC Planning, and I'm here on behalf of our client, Innovative Design and Print Inc. Also, Calvin Fry, who's also shown here as, on the site here on Zoom to discuss the application with you today. As you're aware, this is an application that was previously deferred. I was not the planner on it. The partner on this file is actually on holiday, so I'm here representing the applicant today. So this application was before the Committee of Adjustment previously and deferred for the purposes of the region requesting that the hydrogeological study be peer reviewed and confirm that both sites have adequate private servicing and not have an impact on nearby wells. We're now back in front of the committee as the region is satisfied with the updates to the hydrogeological report as it has been peer reviewed. And we're here today to speak in support of the staff recommendation and associated conditions with the severance. So I'm here to answer any questions that the committee may have and look forward to hopefully an approval. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Calvin, did you have anything to add or?
Good afternoon. No, I don't think I have anything specific to add to that. She described it well.
Perfect. Thank you. Do any of the members of the committee have any questions for the applicant or MHBC? Okay, doesn't appear so. It doesn't appear that there's any members of the public. Nobody's left on here but us. So how would the committee like to handle this application? Linda.
Okay. I'm not on mute, am I? I'm not on mute.
You are not.
Oh, good. Okay, back to my double screen here. Okay, what's going on here? Sorry, I gotta find my report. There it is. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that consent application B1 2023 for the property known municipally as 1431 Lobsinger Line to sever a corner lot in the M3 zone having an area of approximately 1.03 hectares and a frontage of approximately 57 meters, which contains an existing single detached dwelling and detached garage, be approved subject to, and I believe this is the one with, yes, subject to the 9 conditions as set out in the planning report.
Great, thank you, Linda. Do we have a seconder for that motion? Tim. Thank you, Tim. So all those in favor? That's everyone. So opposed would be none. So the motion has been passed. Just a reminder, the appeal expiry of April 12th, 2023. And again, Nancy will send you all the appropriate information you'll need with that.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Okay, that's it for the applications this evening. So the February minutes, which had 3 members of the committee attending.
Yeah, so Jim and Hans, one of you has to move this before you leave.
I so move.
Why start now,
I was
Linda?
quiet throughout the meeting, but I'm not going to be quiet now.
One comment?
Absolutely, Tim.
I kept Tim busy.
Just a typo, I assume.
Oh.
Paragraph 1, 2, 3, about 4, where it says a backup generator or a cool gen. It should be
Yeah.
cold gen.
Cold, sorry, COLD.
Co, as in cooperative.
Oh, okay.
Cogen. Yes, yes,
I
you're
actually
right.
Googled that even. So cogen. Okay.
That's what I was asking anyways, if they were also used as code, because all generators can be used as a backup power supply. And I want to know whether they were backing up power as well as generating, but they were just doing, producing hydrogens, all they were doing, so.
Okay, so CO and then dash GEN or just two
I've
words?
heard- I've seen different spelling of it, but that works.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good catch.
As in like cooperative generator, you said?
Yeah, like.
Okay. Perfect.
So I will second it.
Great.
Sorry, Jim seconded?
Yes.
Jim second, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
Great. And then all
And I'll
those in
make that
favor?
edit.
You don't get to vote, Linda. You weren't there.
Oh,
I
neither
think
was
I can
I.
vote. I think I can vote. I just can't make a motion on it, correct?
I think, yeah, you're
Doesn't
essentially
matter.
I think there's, but I will not vote. I will just sit back here.
Linda, I was you. I put up my hand, but I was in Florida. I don't know. It's force of habit. Okay, well, let's go that has been motion has been passed.
perfect.